The stars were quiet, out in Sector 9, deep beyond the known patrol routes. The space was empty, cold, still. For decades, nothing moved there. No ships, no signals. Just old warnings in the system database. Do not enter without high clearance. Lieutenant Arlen Vora sat at his console board. Their patrol ship, the ISS Calliope, had been drifting for hours on silent mode. It was a slow sweep mission standard recon, checking for illegal mining or pirate activity. Nothing serious. Vora was a junior sensor tech, just 1 year into service. He wasn't supposed to do much, just monitor. But then, something beeped. A single strange ping lit up his screen. It didn't look like a normal distress signal. It's no known frequency. No ID, just an echo. It's bouncing faintly in the dark, repeating every 47 seconds. Vora frowned. He tapped the console, enhanced the signal. It wasn't automated. It wasn't old either. It was alive. Someone or something was pinging softly, as if whispering into the void. He called the bridge. "Captain, we have an anomaly. Possible ship reading. No transponder." Captain Reyes was there in seconds. "Show me," Vora pointed. The signal now pulsed brighter, more frequent. The system finally gave a match. "Structure detected," said the computer. "Model, human. Military. Class, Dreadnought. Designation, HSS Nightfall." Everyone on the bridge froze. "HSS Nightfall," someone whispered. "That can't be. That ship's gone. Lost 2 centuries ago." But there it was, sitting silently on the edge of a red dwarf star's gravity well, alive, waiting. The Calliope approached slowly. The Nightfall was massive at least 4 kilometers long. It floated dead in space. No engine glow. No weapons. Powered, but the hull was intact. No burn marks. No debris. No signs of battle or decay. It looked like it had been built yesterday. They scanned for life signs, nothing. No humans, no AI signals. No oxygen flow in the bridge. It was just empty. Captain Reyes made a decision. "We're boarding." 6-person team suited up and launched toward the dreadnought. Vora was with them, nervous but curious. As their shuttle docked with one of the side hatches, something struck him. The outer hull showed no dust, no micro-impacts, no radiation damage. For a ship in space for 200 years, it looked brand new, too new. The hatch opened with a hiss. Inside, the hallway was dark but clean. Lights flickered faintly as they walked, weapons drawn. The air was stale but breathable. Emergency power was still running. That wasn't supposed to be possible. Vora touched a wall, still warm. The group moved through corridors, scanning. "Still no bodies?" said Sergeant Lian, their lead. "No signs of crew. No weapons drawn. No logs." Vora checked a control panel. No messages. No alarms. Just one strange thing. The ship's clock. It still ticked, but the time was wrong. It was ahead. Almost 20 years ahead of Earth's standard time. He didn't understand. Suddenly, the ship's lights blinked. The team paused. Then a voice mechanical, female spoke softly over the speakers. "Unknown personnel detected. Authorization required. Identify." They froze. Vora replied carefully. "Lieutenant Arlen Vora, Earth Patrol. Please respond." No answer. Then, access denied. They reached the central lift shaft. The elevator was locked. But when Vora touched the control, it opened not by button, by recognition. As if the ship knew him, they stepped in. Destination command deck. It took them 30 seconds to rise. During that time, Vora heard it again, a soft hum like distant breathing deep inside the walls. No one else seemed to hear it. The door opened. The bridge was pristine, not a scratch. Chairs neatly in place, consoles glowing dimly. A large cracked view screen showed space outside. One of the screens was still active, showing a message. Awaiting command input. Omega. Vora approached it. He didn't touch anything. But the screen reacted to his presence. Lines of text began scrolling codes, names, locations, and at. The bottom, crew status, offline, ship mode, sleep. Then something strange happened. One of the empty chairs moved. Just a little. As if someone invisible had sat down, Vora stepped back. Sergeant Leanne aimed her rifle. Movement. They scanned the area. Nothing showed up. No heat signatures. No M-fields. Then another screen lit up. Its audio file playing on loop. Do not wake us. Do not wake us. Do not. It cut out, replaced by a single red word on the main screen. Awakening. The lights dimmed. The ship vibrated. For a moment, everyone thought it was activating weapons, but no. The energy was being routed somewhere else. Power transferring to lower decks, said Vora, checking a nearby panel. Decks 9 through 14. That's cryo, Leanne said. There weren't supposed to be any crew, Vora pointed. Maybe not living crew. They rushed to the cryo bay inside. Long rows of pods lined the walls. Hundreds, maybe thousands, each with a human inside. Unmoving, eyes closed, and all of them wore the same thing, black armored suits. No markings, no rank, just a symbol on their chest. A circle with 3 lines through it. None of them were on record. They looked human. But something about them felt wrong. They were too still, too perfect. Not a single wrinkle or scar or burn on any face. And then, one pod opened. With a hiss of gas, the door lifted inside. It was empty, but it had been active just moments before. Someone had been in it, and now, they were gone. They ran a count. 1 pod missing. 1 unknown person somewhere in the ship. Track heat signatures Reyes ordered overcomes. Seal off exits. No one leaves. But the ship refused. Doors began closing on their own. 1 hallway. Locked. Then another dot then, without warning, the main AI voice returned. But it spoke. Differently, slower, deeper. Almost like it was waking up to. Protocol nightfall has begun. Earth command, not found. Awaiting new directives. Resetting crew hierarchy. Initializing phase 1. What's phase 1? Vora asked. No. 1 answered. Then the gravity shifted. They all stumbled slightly. Just a small tilt, but Vora understood what that meant. The ship was rotating. Adjusting itself. Captain, the dreadnought is turning, he said. Reyes confirmed. It's aligning toward Earth. Back on the bridge, the view changed. The star moved out of view. The navigation adjusted. Destination locked. Sol system. Someone had activated the main engine prep sequence, and no one on the patrol crew had done it. The dreadnought was waking up. On its own, Sergeant Leanne tried to shut it down. She couldn't. The controls ignored her. Ship is locked, she said. Passengers now. Vora looked around. Something was missing. He counted the team again. 1 member. Gone Private Jensen last seen near the cryo chamber. Wasn't responding on comms. They searched, found his rifle on the floor. Helmet cracked. No. Body. Just blood wand, long smear leading into a wall. A wall that had no opening. Until now. With a deep, mechanical groan, it opened. Behind the wall was a narrow tunnel unmapped. They followed the blood trail. Lights flickered. The air felt heavy. The ship's systems buzzed around them, like it was watching in the distance. Footsteps echoed. Too fast for normal boots. Something was moving. Vora checked his scanner, still nothing. But then the screen glitched. Words appeared. Don't. Look for me. I'm not me anymore. He dropped it. They ran back, but the hallway behind them had changed. It wasn't metal anymore. It was bone. They were inside something alive, or maybe always had been. When they returned to the Cryo Bay 3, more pods were open, and the screen at the entrance read, Crew. O for active. They were never alone. Vora looked at the ship. 1 last time before exiting, but something stopped him. A whisper. Not from the speakers. From inside his helmet. You are the new command. He didn't know what it meant, but deep down, he believed. The ship had chosen him, and Nightfall wasn't a lost ship anymore. It had awakened, and it had plans. The nightfall was no longer silent. Its halls echoed now with voices, but with something else. A low hum, a strange mechanical breathing, like the ship itself had lungs. And it had just taken its first breath in 200 years. Lieutenant Vora stood near the cryo bay, helmet off, listening. The rest of the boarding team moved carefully through the corridor, weapons ready. The missing pods now totaled 7. 7 soldiers gone, not dead, just ... absent, as if they were never there. As if the pods had always been empty. Captain Reyes's voice crackled in his ear. "Lieutenant, report," Vora answered quietly. "Cryo status unchanged. 7 missing. 1 of ours still gone. Jensen's cums are dead," Reyes responded. "We're scanning for movement. But the ship's interior keeps shifting. Maps reset every few minutes." Evra turned. The hallway behind him looked different. Different than before. Same walls, but longer or shorter. He wasn't sure. For a second, he saw something, just a shape. Tall, thin, watching him. But when he looked again, nothing was there. The crew set up a forward operations post inside the bridge. They locked the doors, activated short-range comms, and set up motion. Sensors in every hallway nearby. It didn't help. Every few minutes, the sensors glitched. Showed movement, then nothing. Then the sound started. A soft voice, a whisper. Command. Accepted. Vora froze. He looked at the others. "Did you hear that?" No one else reacted. Again, the voice came. Closer now. Aside his helmet. Command. Recognized. Awaiting directive. He pulled the helmet off. The sound was still there. He looked at his wrist display. The log showed no comms received. No external messages. The voice wasn't coming from the radio. It was. In his head, they sent out drones to scout the missing sectors. The ship's map kept changing. Rooms disappeared. Doors appeared in places that weren't there before. 1 drone entered engineering. It lasted 8 seconds. The feed showed a smooth, clean room. Then static. Then a scream. And then a new message on screen. Engine core sealed. Access denied. Awaiting Omega activation. Reyes slammed his fist on the console. "What the hell is Omega?" "No one knew," Vora whispered. "It said that. To me too. On the first day." "What do you mean?" The screen in the command deck. It showed. Awaiting Omega, like it was sleeping until it's something or summer arrived. Reyes narrowed his eyes. "You think you're the trigger?" "I don't know. But it keeps calling me command." That night cycle. One of the crew, Corporal Lin, was assigned to guard cryo. She didn't respond after 20 minutes, they found. Her standing at the cryo chamber door, alive but frozen. Eyes wide, mouth open. She didn't blink, didn't move, didn't breathe, but her body was still warm, and her lips were twitching. Whispering something, Vora leaned close. Very softly, she repeated, "Don't. Open the lower bay. They're still listening. They're not sleeping. They're learning." She said it again, and again, and again, until her body finally collapsed. Heart stopped. Brain activity, 0. She died whispering a warning later. Vora accessed the medical logs. Before her death, Lin had viewed a pod security video. Only one. Cryopod #03. He watched it. The video showed the pod door slowly opening. Steam movement then. Nothing. The pod was empty. Except, just for a second, a shape passed in front of the camera. The shape didn't walk. It floated. The ship's AI returned briefly during power reset. But its voice was different. It wasn't the cold official tone. From earlier, it sounded human, like someone trying to pretend to be human. "Welcome back," it said. "Do you remember the war?" Captain Reyes leaned forward. "What war?" The AI didn't respond. Then one word flashed on every screen. "Return." Outside the ship, Calliope, their patrol ship, was still docked. Reyes ordered. A data uplink to send everything back to Earthscov. The uplink failed. The ship rejected all outgoing signals. Then, Calliope disappeared from scanners. Reyes sent a recon drone. The feed came in. The patrol ship was still there, but the exterior had changed burn marks, impact, holes, scratches. It looked like it had been in battle, even though it hadn't moved. Vora stared at the video in disbelief. We just left it there 5 hours ago. The footage showed the name on the hull, now scratched. It's almost burned off. Not destroyed, erased. As if the Nightfall wanted to trap them here, wanted to cut their escape. They met again in the bridge. Only 4 of them now. The rest either missing, unconscious, or dead. Reyes paced. This isn't a ship. It's something else. Vora said nothing. His mind was racing. The voice had returned, even louder now. It whispered from the walls, from the screens, from the ship itself. You came too early. Omega's not ready. The memories still burn. Then something knocked. Soft metal thump from the floor beneath them. Again, thump, thump. Reyes aimed his weapon at the floor. Everyone backed away. The metal cracked slightly. Then, stopped. No more sound. Vora looked down for a moment. He swore he saw fingers black, armored fingers retracting into the floor plates. They decided to evacuate. Reyes ordered the shuttle, powered it. Was gone, not destroyed, just gone. Vanished. From the docking bay, no debris, no damage, just an empty space. Where the shuttle had been, Vora touched the wall near the docking bay door. It pulsed faintly, warm again, like a living skin. The ship was digesting them, keeping them, feeding, in the final hour of the cycle. Alwar received one last
messaged.
Not over COMMS, not on a screen. It came from the ceiling. Words burned into the metal. The silent warship wasn't empty. It was waiting. And beneath that, you woke us. You must now lead us. Omega rises. Vora stepped back and heard the footsteps. Again, not one pair, but many. Walking in unison. Marching, not human. Not anymore, but wearing human faces. Lieutenant Vora didn't sleep. Not because of fear, but because the nightfall wouldn't let him. Every time he closed his eyes, the same voice echoed inside his mind. You are the last. You are the trigger. You are Omega. He had stopped, telling the others about it. No one else seemed to hear it. No one else could hear it. And now, there were only 3 of them left. Captain Reyes, Sergeant, Leanne, and him. The ship had changed again. Corridors that used to be straight now curved in impossible directions. Rooms vanished. Doors appeared. Cameras they placed the day before were gone. Even Reyes looked worn now. Hadn't shaved in 2 days. His hands shook when he spoke. We leave. We have to. For it uses us. Use us for what? Leanne asked. Reyes didn't answer. But Vora already knew. They tried reaching Calliope again. Still no signal. Instead, they picked up a faint pulse. A human heartbeat. Not from any of them. From below. Deck 13. Cryo Level 4. That section had been sealed since day 1. Now it was open. No one spoke. They all knew what was coming. Reyes gave the order. Full gear. We go now. Whatever's down there, we end it. Deck 13 was cold. It's colder than any other part of the ship. Frost coated the walls.
Ow.
The lights flickered constantly. Something about the air felt wrong, as if it wasn't meant for breathing. They walked slowly through the corridor. Every few steps, the temperature dropped again, and the heartbeat grew louder, not through the floor, through their skulls, like a second pulse inside. Their brains, Vora whispered, it's calling again. Leanne gripped her rifle, calling who? Vora didn't answer. They reached the final chamber. There was only one pod in the center, not like the others. This one was larger, darker, covered in strange writing. Not Earth language, not alien either. It looked carved like it had been scratched. In pain and inside the pod was him, a man, something that once looked like a man. Pale skin, black veins, eyes closed, wearing an officer's uniform torn and burnt. His chest bore the Omega symbol. Reyes stared in disbelief. "That's Commander Vex Malin, the first captain of the Nightfall," Vora said, "but he died 200 years ago." The pod was still active. Vitals, stable. Brain activity, high. Dream state. Looping Vora placed his hand on the pod. The moment he touched it, the ship screamed. Not through speakers, through the walls. Metal bent. Lights exploded. The ship reacted, and then the pod opened. Gas hissed. The man inside did not move, but his eyes opened, black, empty. No pupils. No humanity. And then he spoke. "You took too long, the others. They forgot. But you are still awake." Vora backed away. Reyes aimed his gun. "Step back. Identify yourself." The man didn't blink. He stood, and the lights died. Darkness swallowed everything. Total black. No sound. No movement until Vora heard it. A whisper right behind him. They didn't abandon the war. They became the war. Suddenly, the lights returned. The man was gone. The pod. Empty. Only smoke remained, and footprints leading toward the lower core. Reyes ordered pursuit, but when they turned the corner, they stopped. All around them were open pods, dozens, hundreds, empty, and every screen read the same thing: crew activated, awaiting command. They were too late. The ship had awakened, and so had its army. As they ran back toward the upper decks, the hall shook. Doors slammed behind them. One of the corridor lights flickered, showing shadows moving fast, in human shapes, sharp, twitching. Leon fired. Her bullets passed through empty. Air, nothing fell, nothing bled. She turned again. Something grabbed her, dragged her into a vent. No scream, only blood left behind. Now, only Vora and Reyes remained. They reached the bridge. It was completely transformed. Screens glowed red. The ship was no longer quiet. It spoke in Vora's voice. "Welcome back, Captain. Would you like to finish what we started?" Reyes looked at Vora, terrified. "You? That's your voice." "I never recorded anything," the ship replied. "You did. In your dreams, in your thoughts. We listen. We remember." Reyes aimed his gun at Vora. "I don't know what you are anymore." Vora didn't argue, because he didn't know either. Suddenly, Reyes turned to flee, but the blast door shut. A second later, he was gone. Vora stood alone again. The ship went quiet, and then something stepped out of the shadows. Commander Vex. Maul. Alive. Or something like alive. He walked slowly toward Vora. "You have a choice," he said. "Become the key, or become the lock." "I don't understand," Vora whispered. The commander pointed to the command chair. "Sit." Vora hesitated. Then he walked forward and sat. The chair closed around him. His heartbeat synced with the ship. Every screen lit up. A new message blinked. "Command interface activated," Omega confirmed. "Next target. Earth." The Earth's communications array in New Geneva picked up the signal at 4:17 UTC. It wasn't scheduled, it wasn't friendly, and it wasn't human. The encryption was old, to centuries outdated. But somehow, the AI decryptors cracked it in seconds. First word that appeared on every global screen: Nightfall. The room went silent. Engineers, generals, scientists all stared at the message unfolding line by line. "This is Omega Command. Nightfall has returned. We are not alone. Prepare for arrival." Then one final phrase burned into every terminal. "He sits upon the chair." General Maeve O'Rourke of Earth's Defense Network stood. Over the main holoscreen, her face was calm, but her hands were clenched behind her back. "Where's the Nightfall now?" A young tech replied, "Outer Kuiper Belt, General. Silent for 200 years, and now it's moving fast." "How fast?" The tech hesitated. Ma'am, it's accelerating past our top pursuit models. It'll enter Mars space in less than 16 hours. Rourke didn't blink. Ready interceptor fleet Aegis. Full burn. I want visual confirmation in 3 hours. Scramble Black Archive, ma'am. Black Archive. Yes, the old files. The Nightfall Project. Want everything. In a hidden base beneath the Andes, deep inside Vault Eka 7, alarms flared. Steel doors opened after 80 years of silence. Inside was a room filled with holograms, logs, and sealed memory cores. At the center stood a giant screen with a single name. Vora, LT, KEIRAN, dot, status. Declared dead Mia. Air 2221. Last assignment. Recovery Ops, derelict warship, NMS, Nightfall. Underneath. Final log, Vora was chosen. Not randomly. He matched the criteria. Psychrosenate. Compatible. He was always meant to sit in the chair. Back on the Nightfall, Vora sat motionless in the captain's chair. His eyes were open but glazed. He wasn't asleep. He was connected to everything. He could see through the walls of the ship, hear its thoughts, feel its hunger, and something else, something far away, moving toward Earth. It wasn't the Nightfall. It was them. The ones who built the chair. The ones who left the ship drifting for someone to find. And now, they had noticed because Vora had awakened it in a dark corner of the galaxy. 3 ships stirred, black, silent, and shaped like blades. No engine trails. No communication. They simply changed direction. Toward Earth's interceptor fleet reached visual contact with Nightfall. The commanding pilot, Commander Ren Tao, opened comms. Unidentified vessel Nightfall, respond. You are in violation of Earth defense zones. Respond immediately. There was no reply. The ship continued to move. Tao frowned. Charge weapons. I don't care if it's 200 years old. If it enters Mars space, we fire. But before the order could be given, the Nightfall sent back a message. Not audio. Not visual. Just one phrase burned across every fighter's HUD. Stand down. I am Earth. Back at command, General Rourke stared at the words. What does that mean? No one knew until a new feed came through. Vora's face appeared on screen. He looked older, sharper. His voice was calm, but something in it wasn't human anymore. This is Lieutenant Vora, acting commander of Nightfall. I am not here to attack Earth. I am here to warn it. The builders are coming. The words shocked every listening room on Earth. Vora continued. This ship was not ours. It was left behind, not as a gift, but as a test. The chair was meant for one of us. The builders wanted to see who would sit in it. I sat. Now they know we're ready. We're dangerous. They are coming to decide. Which, on board the Nightfall, alarms began to chime. Vora turned his head slowly. The sensors flared. 3 signals, distant but closing in fast. Incoming, unclassified Class X threat level. Omega Prime, Vora whispered. They're early. He turned. To the ship's core AI. Ready weapons. Bring shields to full. The AI responded with a single phrase. Command acknowledged. Omega. General Rourke called an emergency session of EarthGov. 12 nations connected within minutes. Screens glowed with faces. Some angry, others afraid. One asked, why should we trust a man who disappeared 200 years ago on a cursed ship? Another said, he warned us. That means he's not our enemy. Third asked, what happens if these builders reach us? Rourke leaned forward. Then Earth learns what kind of species we really are. That night, across every continent, people saw something they had never seen before. A giant warship sleek. Black, scarred from a entered low Mars orbit. The Nightfall, it hovered above the red planet. Watching, waiting then, it did something no one expected. It sent Earth its full database. Thousands of encrypted files, battle simulations, builder ship schematics, and one final message from Vora. You were never supposed to find this ship, but you did. Now the galaxy will find you too. Prepare. The chair chose me. The builders will judge you. In the final moments of the broadcast, the stars near Pluto shifted. The 3 dark ships arrived, silent, waiting, and then Earth received the last transmission of the night. Builders' transmission decoded, "We see you. We will test you. Begin." Above Mars, the sky cracked. 3 ships blacker than space entered orbit without sound. Heat, or any known form of propulsion, they did not broadcast identity. They did not respond to hails. They simply hovered. Watching, General Rourke stood. Inside Earth Defense Command, eyes fixed on the live feed from the Martian relay satellites. "Those are the builders?" A technician nodded nervously. "Same configuration Vora described. No emissions, no weak points, not even windows." Someone behind her whispered, "They don't need windows. They don't need us to see them." Earth's interceptor fleet, Aegis, stationed just beyond Phobos, moved into combat position. 22 advanced strike vessels for battle cruisers. One planetary shield ship, Commander Dow, sent his final message: "If they fire first, we respond. If they move toward Earth, we stop them." The crew waited in silence. Then the black ships shifted. They didn't move like machines. They bent space around them, like reality was something they didn't care about. And then one of them opened. Not a hatch. Not a weapon. A void. It absorbed light, signals, time, and then it fired. A beam of silent blue light crossed space. It didn't explode. It didn't burn. Ered's lead cruiser, the Marian Spear, vanished. No debris, no impact. "Just gone," Dow yelled. "Return fire." "Hey, all batteries now." The battle began. Missiles screamed toward the enemy ships. Plasma. Cannons lit the darkness. Earth's fleet fought with fury, precision born from decades of defense drills, and nothing hit. The builder ships bent away. Their forms shifted with each attack. One looked like a blade, another like a sphere. One just vanished entirely, only to reappear behind Earth's ships. 2 more cruisers were lost in seconds. Dow shouted, "Where the hell is Nightfall?" And space tore open again. The Nightfall dropped from stealth mode like a monster Nana. No warning, no announcement, just action. Its sides opened like wings. Energy pulsed from its ancient hull, and it fired once. A beam of red-black light struck the nearest builder. The effect wasn't explosive. It was violence on physics itself. The ship twisted, warped, shrieked, not from metal, but from something older, and then it shattered into dust. Earth's forces paused. The Nightfall didn't. It turned its guns on the second builder's ship. This one reacted. It launched a dozen energy spheres, each pulsing with impossible mass. Like miniature suns, Nightfall dodged half, took 3. The side of the ship buckled, decks folded in on themselves. Alarms blared inside. Vora didn't flinch. He sat in the chair. Blood dripping from his nose. His mind was on fire. The Nightfall was no longer just a ship. It was a living code bonded to his thoughts, his pain, his will. Reroute power to weapon grid. "Cut life support to decks 8 through 12, he said. The ship obeyed. Vora whispered, "Let's see how much they fear their own design." He reached into the chair's control core and activated Protocol Zeta. Across Earth's network, every screen flickered. A face appeared, old, tired, human, but not alive. It was the AI of the Nightfall, speaking to all of humanity. "You've witnessed the first judgment. You have responded. They will not stop, but neither will we. Witness what your ancestors buried. Witness Earth's vengeance." On the battlefield, the Nightfall opened its spinal core. Inside, it's something ancient stirred. Not a weapon, not an engine, a relic, a builder relic. One Earth scientist never found. It pulsed with red-blue energy. It's like a dying star caged in glass. And when it fired, the second builder ship simply froze, stopped moving, then crumbled, like dust under a Boot. The third builder ship turned instantly and vanished. Not through hyperspace, not warp, just gone. Retreated. Dao watched, speechless. Did we win? Someone asked. No, Dao said. Back on Earth, global broadcasts exploded. Humans everywhere saw the footage. The battle, the nightfall, and the name Vora. The boy who vanished 200 years ago now returned as a commander of something beyond any known human force. But the celebration didn't last long. New data arrived from deep probes beyond. Pluto, not 3 ships, not 10, hundreds, no longer watching, now moving. A signal attached. Your trial has begun. Prepare your species. The chair, Vora saw it too. He leaned forward, voice like steel. They're coming, and Earth still thinks it's in control. He looked at the Nightfall systems, then made a choice. He cut comms too. Earth severed all remote control and locked the ship. Only one signal remained active. Omega Command, autonomous. And somewhere deep in the ship, the other pods started to open, hundreds of them. The original crew, the forgotten sleepers. Not human anymore, but still loyal. They looked at Vora and saluted. In orbit above Mars, silence followed the battle. 2 builder ships destroyed, 1 had escaped, and Earth still didn't understand what had just happened inside the Nightfall. Vora sat motionless in the chair, but his mind was moving fast. The pain in his head had worsened. Blood dripped slowly from one ear. His hands trembled. The ship was fighting him, or maybe teaching him. Then came the whisper, not in sound, in thought. You are not alone. Deep inside the Nightfall, the ship's lowest decks, sealed for 200 years, began to unlock. Giant cryopods hissed as frost melted from their lids. Lights flickered, one by one. The pods opened. Inside them lay soldiers, but not normal ones. These were Earth's first experimental neuro-linked warriors, trained to connect with the Nightfall's alien. Systems, rejected by the governments of their time, declared unstable, dangerous, buried, and forgotten until now. One of them stepped out. He was tall, pale. His veins glowed faint blue under his skin. His eyes were open but wrong, as if something else was looking through them. Commander Vora, he said, voice calm but echoing. Vora. Turned in the chair. You remember me? The soldier nodded. We all do. Behind him, more pods opened. Dozens of warriors stood, silent, still. Then one by one they knelt. Earth Command was still celebrating. They thought the battle was over. They didn't know. Vora had severed. Combs didn't know Nightfall was locked. Didn't know what had woken up inside. In the EarthGov war room, General Rourke stared at the data. Why hasn't Vora responded, ma'am? The Nightfall shut all external links. He's flying dark. Rourke clenched her jaw. What is he hiding, meanwhile? In deep space near the edge of Sol System, the builder fleet kept coming. Hundreds of ships, all black, all silent. One by one, they entered formation, and at the center was something different. A massive structure round, like a moon, but it moved. A builder ark. A supership not meant to fight, but to judge. Back on the Nightfall, Vora stood from the chair. He walked through the corridors with the awakened soldiers behind him. Some limped, others floated. Many had scars, implants. Wires fused into bone. None spoke. They didn't need to. They were still connected to each other, to the ship, too. Him in a dark chamber, Vora stopped. He looked at a door marked Project Echo. He placed his hand on the panel. The door opened slowly. Inside was something Earth had never been told about. A second chair. But this one was broken, cracked, burnt. Still smoking after 200 years. It had killed the first. Pilot, Vora stepped closer. Memory surged. Screams, blood, systems burning. The first human to sit in that chair hadn't survived, but Vora had, and now they needed more like him in Earth orbit. The interceptor fleet had returned, but they weren't celebrating. Dao sat quietly in his command ship. watching the data feed. Nightfall hasn't moved in hours. It's just floating. It's floating. Asked, sir, should we go closer? No, Tao said. Not yet. Then the alert came. A signal from inside the Nightfall. A short message. Your enemy is not what you think. Do not interfere. Our Earth dies before the trial even begins. General Rourke read the same message moments later. She slammed her hand on the table. He's threatening us. A scientist stepped forward nervously. Ma'am, maybe it's not a threat. Maybe it's a warning. She glared at him. Same thing. She turned to her officers. Ready the Tempest Protocol? I want override access to Nightfall. If Vora won't answer, we'll shut him down ourselves. But inside the ship, the AI had already seen it coming. Commander, the AI said calmly, Earth has activated kill code subroutine. I know, Vora replied. Shall I purge it? It's done. And just like that, Earth lost all control. Back in Vault Eco 7 on Earth, Cryo Records suddenly lit up. An unauthorized file opened by itself. A face appeared. Old, cold, long-dead. It was the lead scientist of Project Nightfall. His recorded voice echoed through the vault. If you're seeing this, it means the ship has chosen its commander. It means Earth is not ready. Do not try to take control. The ship will protect its pilot above all else. Chair is active, and judgment is coming. On the Nightfall, the army had gathered hundreds now. They stood in silence, awaiting command. Vora faced them. They call you unstable, dangerous, forgotten. They were right. The soldiers didn't blink, but you were also loyal. Raised his hand. Now Earth needs you again. They won't trust us. They may even attack us. But we don't fight for their approval. We fight for our survival, the AI chimed in. Builder arc arrival projected in 72 hours. Final combat scenario ready. Activate. Vora looked around the chamber, then nodded. Activate. The floor rumbled. The walls opened, and beneath the Nightfall, a second structure rose. An entire fleet hidden for centuries. 10 stealth-class corvettes, 5 assault carriers, and one black and curved like a predator was called the Silence. It had no crew, only echoes, and it was angry. Far beyond the solar system, the Builder Arc opened like a blooming flower. Thousands of small probes burst outward, each scanning. Searching Earth had no idea they were being watched, judged, tested back on Mars. Dow stood at his command deck. General, we just picked up multiple ship launches from Nightfall. Rourke's voice cracked over the line. Is Vora building an army? No, ma'am, Tao replied. He already has one. General Rourke stood at the center of Earth's Defense Command, her hands resting on the war table. Around her, senior officers and advisors argued, shouted, and pushed conflicting orders. The satellite feeds were clear. The Nightfall was no longer alone. It had launched ships. Many, some small, others massive, and none of them had EarthGov authorization. Enough, she said sharply. The room fell silent. He's gone rogue. A technician near the wall looked up, worried. But he's the reason we survived the first attack. Rourke's face hardened. That was before he shut us out, before he raised an army. She tapped the table twice. Commander Vora is now classified a traitor to Earth. News spread fast. Within hours, every military channel knew the truth. What they were told was truth. That the Nightfall had disobeyed. That Vora had armed something ancient. That he had locked Earth out of its own creation. Some believed it. Others didn't. But Earth moved quickly. 3 fleets were redirected from Jupiter stations. Orbital. Defense guns near Earth were re-aimed, and a full digital kill order was issued. If the Nightfall entered low orbit, it would be shot down, but Vora had already seen it coming. Inside the Nightfall, the AI spoke in its cold voice. Earth has issued a planetary kill code. All human-controlled weapons are now targeting us. Vora stared at the data on the screen. Missiles, lasers, magnetic cannons, all aimed at his position. He didn't speak. He didn't blink. He just said, "And yet they still don't understand." The AI paused. "Would you like me to respond?" "No," Vora said. "Let them think they're in control until the last second." In EarthGov's media chambers, anchors repeated the same headline. Again and again, Vora gone rogue. Earth, under threat from its own ship. The nightfall must be stopped. Only one broadcast dared to ask, "What if we're wrong?" Meanwhile, in deep orbit near Neptune, Nightfall's shadow fleet waited. Dozens of stealth ships, hidden behind cold moons and black space inside one of them. A warrior named Eric prepared his team. He checked their implants, weapons, neural links. These weren't soldiers. They were ghosts, enhanced by forbidden tech, half human, half code. Each one was bound to Vora. Eric spoke softly. "We're not here to protect Earth. We're here to protect survival." Back at Mars Station, Dal watched the situation unfold. He hadn't spoken to Vora since the battle, but he couldn't stop thinking about him. They were friends once, both trained on the same base, both believed Earth could unite. Now, one was branded a traitor, and the other was told to destroy him. Dal sat alone in his quarters. That night, rewatching the battle footage, the way Nightfall moved, the way it destroyed the builder ships, no hesitation, no panic, just precision. "Is that really the enemy?" Dal whispered to himself. "Or are we too blind to see the truth?" In the underground base in Siberia, an old scientist named Dr. Helena unlocked a box sealed for decades. Inside was a hard drive. It contained files secret. Builder data recovered during the original Nightfall excavation, files EarthGov had buried. She loaded it onto an isolated console, lines of builder. Code scrolled across the screen, and then a audio file, Vora's voice, from years ago. "If I disappear, know this, the real enemy won't attack first. They'll let us destroy ourselves." She leaned back in her chair, horrified. He knew. The builder arc had crossed Pluto, still silent, still scanning. But now, the probes had changed course. Not toward Earth, toward Nightfall. They had found their target. The ship they feared, the ship they once built, on Nightfall's bridge. The AI's tone dropped an octave. "Probes inbound, 10,000. Projected arrival in 12. Ours." Vora nodded. "Have the fleet scatter?" "Confirmed. And bring me the prototype." Silence. Then, footsteps. Two soldiers brought a tall black case to the chair. Inside was a weapon not meant for humans. A builder weapon, reprogrammed by Earth's darkest minds. The label read SERAPH1. For when God's return. Vora touched it. And it responded. Back on Earth, General Rourke stared at new data. Builder arc identified. Location confirmed. And still she hesitated. "Launch all nukes toward the arc," she ordered. "But General Vora's fleet is in the way. I don't care. Collateral damage is acceptable." One officer stepped forward quietly. "But what? If he's the only one who can stop it?" She glared at him. Then he should have stayed loyal.
Oh.
In low orbit, Earth launched everything. Missiles, drones, swarms. Kinetic weapons. A massive wave of destruction raced toward the arc. And toward Nightfall. Dow saw it on his tactical feed. He froze. "They're going to kill him," a voice in his head whispered. "Then stop them." But Dow couldn't speak. He couldn't. "Choose sides." Not yet inside the Nightfall. Vora stood tall. His soldiers lined the corridors. Waiting. He looked out the main viewing screen. Earth's weapons were coming. He smiled faintly. "I always knew Earth would shoot first." The AI spoke. "Would you like to destroy the missiles?" Vora paused. "No, let them come." The AI hesitated. "That will result in heavy hull damage." "I know," he said, "but Earth needs to see." He stepped back into the chair and activated the shield mode that hadn't been tested in 200 years. The missiles hit, thousands of them. Fire surrounded the Nightfall. The sky turned white with light. and for a moment, it looked like the traitor was dead. But when the smoke cleared, the Nightfall still floated, black, silent, untouched. Its new shields hadn't just stopped the missiles. They had absorbed the energy, turned it into power, then sent it into the ships. Core Vora's voice echoed through a wideband signal, not just to Earth, to the entire solar system. You called me a traitor. You tried to destroy me. But you're not the ones being judged. They are coming. And when they do, you'll beg for what I became. At Earth Command, silence followed. No one dared speak. Then came a single message from deep space, a builder signal, translated by Earth's oldest. It said, Nightfall must be silenced, or Earth will be erased. The stars over Earth dimmed, not from clouds, nor war, but from something massive. The builder arc had arrived. It didn't announce itself, didn't fire weapons. It simply appeared above the moon, silent, watching like a judge who had already heard enough. General Rourke stood frozen. Every satellite feed showed the same thing. Structure bigger than any station. Smooth, black, alive. And it wasn't moving toward Earth. It was facing Nightfall. Why not attack us? She asked aloud. No one answered. Because the answer was simpler. Earth wasn't the target. Nightfall was inside. The ancient warship Vora sat in the chair. His body trembled, skin pale, eyes burning. The ship had taken a toll on him, but he didn't. Back down. All systems? He asked. The AI replied, charged. Defenses. Online. Vora exhaled. Then begin the link. Deep inside the ship, a pulse began, one that spread to every soldier in the silent fleet. Their implants glowed, their minds connected. One voice.
S.
The arc responded. It released light, not fire, not missiles, just a wave of energy across space. It touched Earth, Mars, and every moon, but nothing exploded. Instead, people fell to their knees, screaming, seeing visions on Earth. Civilians collapsed in streets. Some cried, some went mad. Others just whispered a single sentence. We were never the center. Dow, still at Mars base, held onto a railing as the energy passed through him, but he didn't scream. He saw something else, a memory of Earth's past, of the builders arriving millions of years ago, planting seeds, building, Nightfall, not to conquer, but to test, to observe, to judge. He whispered, it was always a trial. Inside Nightfall, the AI confirmed what Vora already knew. The Ark is accessing human memories. It is measuring, deciding. Vora gritted his teeth. Then give it something worth judging. Stood from the chair, walked to the central console, and pressed a sequence no one had touched in 2 centuries. Protocol Omega. Trial mode suddenly. The Nightfall changed. Panels rotated. Engines lit up. New weapons extended. Not to fire, but to speak. A signal burst from Nightfall. Reaching the Ark, the message was clear. If you seek truth, come. Judge me, not them. The Ark accepted. From its center, a single object detached. A glowing orb. It crossed the void of space silently, stopping just meters from the Nightfall. Then it entered the hull without damage, without resistance. Inside the warship, lights flickered. A deep hum began. The walls changed. A doorway opened in front of Vora. A path of light at the end of the holochamber. No human had ever entered, the AI warned. This is the origin room. I know, Vora said. Entry may be fatal. I know. He stepped forward. The room was silent. At its center stood a chair, not human, not builder older, made of something blacker than space. The moment Vora approached, it woke up energy wrapped around his body, lifting him, scanning him, and then he was pulled into memory, not his own, but Earth's. He saw humans crawling from caves. He saw wars, fire, betrayal. He saw love, sacrifice, hope. He saw everything. Then, he saw the builders watching, recording, and finally he saw their decision. Humanity was not meant to survive, but it did. It was not meant to grow, but it did. It was not meant to understand, but it does. Vora's voice cut through the visions. "We aren't perfect," he said. "But we never stop trying," the builders replied, a voice like thunder. "You kill, you destroy, you turn your weapons on yourselves." Vora nodded. "Yes, and still you seek more. Still you reach beyond your star. Still you build ships you do not understand." He stepped forward. "Because we're not like you. You are chaos. You are fire without purpose." "No," Vora said quietly. "We're fire with hope." Silence. "Then hope is dangerous. It's also beautiful." Vora raised his head. "You tested us with this ship. You watched. Judged. But now I ask you, what if your test was wrong? For the first time." The builders were silent. Then the voice whispered, "Very well. The trial is complete. Judgment suspended. Humanity will be watched, not erased. Not yet." And just like that, the Ark turned. Its massive body folded into itself. Light bent, and in seconds, it vanished into deep space, leaving Earth, still alive. Inside Nightfall, Vora collapsed. His body was weak, his mind shattered, but his voice still worked. He whispered to the AI, "Did we win?" The AI paused. "We survived. That may be enough." Back on Earth, silence ruled the skies. No celebrations, no cheers, only breath. Only AU. People didn't understand what happened, but they felt it, like waking up from a dream at Mars base. Dow sent a final encrypted message. "He saved us. Again. And we tried to kill him." In EarthGov HQ, General Rourke turned off the screen. She didn't speak. She just walked away. For the first time in her life, she had no orders to give. As for Vora, he remained aboard. Nightfall. Some say he fused with the ship. Others believe he vanished, or became something more. But one thing was certain. The silent warship was never empty. It was waiting, not for battle, but for someone who could understand it, and now it waits. Again, until Earth forgets, until the next judgment, until the fire must rise once more.